Folks, have you all been watching what has been going on in the Minnesota House of Representatives? So the Freedom Caucus there have pushed House Resolution 6 to impeach Tim Walz. When I tell you the testimony that was delivered by whistleblowers during this meeting, I mean, it was explosive.
Thank you for allowing me to speak today. I'm one of those whistleblowers, and I am a current state employee. And I'm also a Democrat. I've only voted Democrat, and that's why I think this is a really sad day for me. I consider myself a very loyal person. I have worked at the state agency I'm at for 20 years. I believe I've had 3 jobs since I graduated from college. I've lived on the same block for 20 years. I'm kind of a ride or die person. But I want you to know my experience. And what happened to me was 7 years ago, I was what I would consider at the top of my game. I was in one of those rare times in life where you really enjoy going to work and you know that you are doing a very good job and life was really, really good. And everything I'm going to say now, I don't in any way mean to reference my coworkers, my peers. Your average state employee is very, very good, very good. I'm not unique in any way. I'm not uniquely smarter than anyone else or uniquely able to notice fraud any more than anyone else. I'm just a regular state employee. All of my comments and my concerns are really about the leadership and those that have appointed that leadership. So about 7 years ago, I noticed risky contracts that I was seeing. I had a promotion and I, for the first time, was seeing many contracts, more than just my own. Everything was sort of fun.
I want to just pause it for just a moment. So this woman is a regular worker. I mean, she's not an executive, she's not, one of these ones that is going to get a cushy, what do you call it, raise or this is a regular working woman like all of us. Okay. And she's talking about what she's gone through. I want to get your thoughts on her first. Just want to get you all's thoughts. I'll start with you, Shelley, on this woman. Like, do you think she's credible just from hearing so far what she's saying and things like that?
I would say yes. Again, she's only said whatever. I would say yes, she's credible. She's coming forward. She's saying, whatever she saw. This is the thing. In government in general, there's so much bureaucracy, so many layers, right? So, you need a manager to sign off if you need to buy a pencil. Well, how come where are the managers and the overseers and the checks and balances when you have faulty contracts? These are the people who are mostly salaried. They're supposed to be alert and aware of these things. So I applaud this woman, but I'm going to ask, where are her superiors that are supposed to be signing off on the contracts, that are supposed to be given the approval or the denial for the RFPs and all that stuff? This is, it's so much, it's nepotism.
Oh, she's going to tell you where they are.
Go ahead. Okay, go ahead, woman.
Okay.
Funneling through me in my work area. And so I started going up the ladder for the next 6 months, as a person would do, and talking to my supervisor, then their supervisor, and up and up. And so what I found was that I was really kind of getting nowhere. So after that first thing of noticing these things.
Wait a minute. We got some nut in the chat. Diamond Davy. I would say no, having grown up in Minneapolis, none of them are credible on either side. What? So then you got the whole place is a bunch of crooks? Is that what you're saying? You and all the Minneapolis people are a bunch of crooks? I
think he's saying government workers in general, like government work, the bureaucracy, basically, I guess.
I don't know about that. I'm not going to ridicule government workers. This woman is just a worker. I mean,
no, not her. This just the system, the bureaucracy. I think I understand what he's saying. I think he's talking about the bureaucracy, the layers, and that there's really
that's not her fault, though.
No, it's not. No, it's not her fault, right?
Yeah, she's just a worker. You're just somebody trying to get a job. I mean, this is what I have an issue with, and I'm sorry to break this up really quickly, but I don't like the idea of conservatives demonizing 9-to-5 workers just because they work for the government.
Right.
I don't think that's right. I have an issue with the government and the bureaucracy and the inefficiency and the fraud as well. But this woman is to me, I mean, just from the testimony I've heard, she is one of the good ones.
Right.
It's not all of them are bad. I know a lot of government, especially since we live in the DMV area, so we come across a lot of government workers. There are a good portion of government workers that are patriots, that are just want to do their job. They want to make sure it's done right. And they work for the government.
Yeah. It's the system. It's the way it's set up.
Right. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm going to continue.
Things and realizing I was getting nowhere. I then realized that we had incredibly unqualified leadership. Not only did people not really know the solution to what I was bringing, but they really didn't even understand what I was saying. And that didn't make a lot of sense to me, because looking at their salary and their job title, this is something they should have clearly understood and said thank you and proceeded to solve it. And that isn't what happened at all. What actually happened is the messenger gets shot. I became a very unpopular person amongst leadership there. And the retaliation and the smear campaign is strong. I was called everything from incompetent to a favorite is racist. You people who speak about fraud at state agencies, the first thing that leadership goes to is racism. And that is very hard to take. It is humiliating. It is career killing, obviously. Who is going to hire someone who is considered racist? So at some point in that period of time in 2019, there was a poster put up at the agency, and it had 3 names on it. It was one of those posters that was sort of that, if you see something, say something kind of thing. And there was 3 names on the poster that we were to contact if we had concerns about fraud, waste, or abuse. And so I was working with those three people. And over the next year, those 3 people really made my life about as miserable as it could be. That was a period where my son was young. He's a teenager now, he's with me. But he was young at that time, and I used to sit on the front step of my house and cry because I didn't want him to see me cry.
Wow.
Because you don't want a young kid to see that.
What Nicole, what are your thoughts here, Nicole?
Again, they talk about systems failing. And what she's saying is she did what she was supposed to do. She reported it and reported it and reported it and reported it. And they quite literally shot the messenger. They wanted her gone. They wanted her to quit, because I assume that being a white person in Minnesota and being labeled a racist is the death knell for any career opportunities you may have, especially when you work for the state. You're not transferring to another division. You're not, doing anything else for the state government. Once they put that stink label on you, it's a wrap. I feel bad for her in that regard, but I'm also glad that she's gotten confident enough over time, because if her kid was small then and he's a teenager now, that tells you how long this fraud has been going on and how long the jackass also in the frame with her should have known. It's been more than 10 years. If her kid was small and now he's a teenager, it's been a while, and he's done nothing, absolutely nothing.
And let me apologize. I did not mean to come off rank or nasty to the chat. I actually was in this situation. Now, I didn't work for the government. I worked for a private company, and they do this. They say that you're okay to go above, to talk to people when you have issues. And I was sounding the alarm on DEI. I raised issues with a training that I thought was unnecessary, that was pushing all this systemic racism and was talking about transgenderism and all this type of stuff. And I sounded the alarm, and I was blackballed just like she was. It is a tough situation to be in. And the people that you're going to, when you go through the natural avenues,
the chain of command,
right? They're the ones who they're nasty. They're the ones who most of the time put these policies in place.
Absolutely. The policy, this is why we say it's the system. It's not this lady and people like her. It's the system. It's set up. I always had this thing, they come out with these pretty sounding words, and if you see something, say something, and or report this, and you're confidential. Your report is confidential if you want it to be. BS, no, BS, BS. No. BS, BS, BS.
I found that out the hard way. It's not.
I tell people all the time.
They're the ones you have to reach out to, usually in human resources.
Exactly.
They're the ones who put all this crap in place.
Exactly. And just like she said, they call her name. You see the same tactic. You see it in politics, certainly in government. They start labeling you, calling you names, and that's to keep you afraid and keep you backed out. I tell people my second language is bureaucratese. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. I want to keep going here.
And those three names. Okay, let me just talk about those three names. One is our ethics officer in the agency I work at. She called me to tell me that if I spoke in front of the legislative committee, that I would likely be fired. Wow. So that's our ethics officer. Then at that time, chief compliance officer, now our commissioner, she had me involuntarily transferred to a different position to get me out of where I was. She called me on a Saturday along with our HR representative and told me that when I returned to work the next week that I had a new job. And I said, do I have any choice? And the answer was no, it's this or nothing. And the third person on that list, who was our director of auditing, so he's an auditor, he completely outed me. I reported fraud to him, and what he did is call up the person I was reporting on and said, Faye Bernstein just told me da-da-da-da about you, just completely outed me, which, as you can imagine, led to more of me crying on my front step.
That's what happened to me. That's what happened to me. The people you have to report to tell them about this are all involved with it. Many of them have made these whatever you're complaining about, this type of complaint. It's really sad. It really is.
Yeah. Yep. Keep in mind, the system is made to protect itself and to reproduce itself, not necessarily the individuals, the system.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Ms. Bernstein. I'm sorry this happened to you, and thank you for sharing your story. I hope we pass this resolution so you can.
Nope. They don't care. They don't care. All right. Yeah, they don't care. This is sad.
I will say this, and I've advised people of this before. If you, like Faye Bernstein, not believe that you found something, but when you know you found something, you're not going to call the people who did it to report it. I'm going to need you to be a little bit more savvy than that, right? The people to call are your local investigative journalists to say, hey, I've got a story for you. Because they can stick bamboo shoots up under that person's fingernails and they ain't giving up on nothing. Call your local television station. Call someone in the media, because what they will do is investigate. And there's no running from them. There's no running from them. So you have to really kind of put some thought process into it. So if I'm going to complain about my company stealing money, am I actually going to complain to the people in my company who are in charge of said stealing? No.
I mean, I agree, but they don't tell you. I mean, she was just going by what they tell you. And we've all been through these trainings. Right, where they say if you see some impropriety, if you see some type of fraud, there is a separate unit that generally handles that. But it is within the company, and they're told that they act separately, but clearly they don't. Yeah.
Nope. Everybody has a dog in the fight when it comes to saving everyone's job. They will let you burn to save everybody else's position. So sometimes when it is large enough or big enough, or it looks like the tip of the spear or the tip of the iceberg, and there's more coming, you're better off outside of your agency, outside of your corporation, because it saves you as well as everybody else. And it gives you a layer of deniability that you're going to need to continue your career in that particular field. So you think you got something?
That's something the media is good for.
Absolutely.
Investigative journalism.
It used to be, at least, but